you can draw this in Procreate. In this step-by-step easy drawing tutorial, I will take you through the process of creating this window view. And the great thing is that while you're at it, you will learn all about Procreate. What you need is a canvas of 2,300 pixels by 3,000 pixels, and I have left a color palette link down in the description. And of course, it's totally free. So then if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, the first thing we'll do is we'll create a rectangle. And a great way to create perfect rectangles is by using the selection tool, the S shape ribbon, set it to rectangle, and then to color fill. And then for our color, let's just pick, let's pick this one. That's the 8 color in the first row. And let's zoom out a little bit. And let's drag like this, and then we'll have a rectangle like this. Then you can let go, and then we'll go to the Move and Transform tool. First, you can turn off the selection, then tap the arrow over here, then go to Snapping and turn on Snapping. And then when you move your rectangle around, you'll see these two lines once you hit the center. We want this to be in the perfect center. So then let go, and I will tap the arrow again. And now let's create a separate layer for the color around the frame. And we are going to do that by selecting this rectangle. You can tap the layer, then use Select, make sure to turn off Color Fill, and then use Invert to select everything around the rectangle. Then we'll make a new layer on top of this one. We'll tap the plus, and we'll pick this first color in the first row, and then just drag it on there. And now we can also turn off our selection. Then we are going to make another rectangle on top here. So we'll tap the plus for a new layer, but let's just turn off our frame here for now so you can easily see this rectangle. And then for our color, I'd like to go for something warm. Let's go and pick this color, 9th color in the second row. Then pick the selection tool again and create a rectangle that is a little bit smaller than the one we already have. So something like this. Now you can turn color fill on again, then turn the selection off and go to the Move and Transform tool to make sure that you place your rectangle in the center. And then finally, we'll make another layer on top of this. We'll tap the plus again. This time, I'd like to pick this blue, 3rd color in the first row. We'll pick the selection tool again, and then we'll make another frame that is a little bit smaller, like this. Turn off the selection, go to the Move and Transform tool, and place it in the center. Then what we'll do is we'll tap this layer and then use Select, turn off Color Fill. Then we'll go to this layer underneath, tap it, and then use Clear. Then we'll do this again. We'll go to the top layer, tap it, use Select, then go to the bottom layer, tap it, and use Clear. Now we can go to this top layer and drag it all the way to the bottom. We can turn this on. So now we have our sky layer at the bottom, and we have to frame the window at the top. Next, we are going to create the windows. Let's tap the plus for a new layer. For the color, we'll pick this yellow, 10th color in the second row. Then we'll go to the selection tool again, then turn on color fill and create a rectangular shape from this corner to about that middle section. Then we'll hit remove so we can remove a part of the selection. We'll make a smaller rectangle on the inside. And I'll just go out of here for a minute, go and turn off the selection and then go back in. Now we are going to use add again. And then we'll start with a line over here, and then one here, and one over here. And then get out of that selection, tap the S shape ribbon, And now we are going to transform this. We'll go to the Move and Transform tool, set it to Distort, and now we can turn on magnetics, and maybe we can turn snapping off. We can move this up and this down a little bit. And while having magnetics turn on, you keep this straight line. But I want to move it a little bit to the left, so let's turn magnetics off. Or let's first put this in the center. Turn magnetics off. We can keep snapping on. And then open the window like this. Then tap the arrow to get out of here. And now we are going to add some depth to this window. We'll do that on a separate layer. We'll go to this one first. Then tap the plus, and then for the color, pick the orange, 9th color in the second row. Then go back to the selection tool, have it set to rectangle with color fill turned on, and I will make a line like this, giving it some depth. Then we can set this to freehand, and we can go in here and imagine a line going from this corner to here. And then draw a line parallel like this. Loop around, close it. And then we'll do the same here. Imagine a little perspective line. And then we'll make a parallel line like this. Loop around and close it. Over here you won't see a line. It's like straight on. But here we can imagine an intersection again. Then create a parallel line, loop around and close it, and here at the bottom as well. Imagining a line to here, then a parallel line here, and then I'll loop around. And then you can turn off the selection tool. Now we have a nice 3D looking window. Now we can just duplicate these layers. You could first put them in a group. You can select both of them like this by dragging to the right, tap group, you can close it, then slide to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the Move and Transform tool, use Flip Horizontal, and now we can move this to the right, and then go out of here. Now let's put in some buildings. So let's make a layer underneath this. So we'll go here, tap the plus, and then let's use this color, second color in the second row. Pick the selection tool again, set it to a rectangle. And now we're going to create a variety of buildings. Let's start here, for instance, create a nice blue building. And let's also, well, let's go out of here, turn off the selection, then pick this color, 5th color in the second row, and make another selection. We can make one over here, or maybe even a little bit bigger. Now let's make another layer underneath this. So first we need to tap this, then tap the plus. Then for the color, I'd like to use this one, 6th color in the second row, but you can vary this, of course. Let's make another building over here. And then we'll move to the back. So we'll tap this layer, tap the plus, pick another color. I'll go for orange, 9th color. Then pick the selection tool and make another building over here. Maybe I want it to be a little bit bigger. Then turn off the selection tool and turn it back on. Then pick the 3rd color in the second row for another building over here. We can go all the way down. All right, then another layer underneath here. So first tap the sky layer, tap the plus. Then I'll pick the 7th color in the second row, then pick the selection tool and make a building over here. And we'll continue doing this. On this layer, we can make another one. Let's also pick this blue, fourth color in the first row, then the selection tool, and then a building over here. Then let's move to the back, make another layer. First select this one, then tap the plus. Let's go to the colors and pick this yellow, 10th color in the second row, pick the selection tool, and let's make a building that is slightly taller, like this. Then let's make another layer underneath. So go here, tap the plus, and this time I'd like to pick this color, 6th color in the first row, then to the selection tool, make a building over here, and one over here, and untap the selection tool. I like to make another one here in front of the yellow one, so we can go here, tap the plus, and I'd like a pink building, 4th color in the second row, go to the selection tool, make another building, and I also like one here in the front, so we can go to the top here, tap the plus, then for the color I'll pick this one, 1st color in the second row, then to the selection tool, and make a building over here, and untap the S shape ribbon again. So now we have all our flat shapes. It's time to add some texture. So let's start with our background, which is actually at the top here. This is this frame around it. Let's make a layer on top of that. Let's tap the plus and set that layer to clipping mask. So our paint will only show up on this frame. Now for the brush, we'll go to the paints and use, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Piermont. I don't know. It's one of the new brushes in Procreate. And for the color, I'd like to use this orange, 9th color in the second row. Let's make the brush nice and big. I think 50%. Yeah, that's nice. Let's go around our frame like this with vertical strokes. I just want to get some warmth in there. I want this to be a sunny day. Just making it warmer like this. And then we can lower the opacity a bit. We can tap the N here. Lower the opacity to like 50%. Then let's go to this layer, to that frame layer, tap that and use alpha lock. So we can add some light here. So let's first just stick with this orange. Let's set the size of the brush to 15%. Opacity is at 100. And let's imagine the sun going in like this. These sun rays. And here we'll go diagonally. Now we can go even lighter with this yellow with a 10th color. Now let's go here through the center. We got some nice sun rays. Then let's pick a color here, a darker color. You can just hold your finger on the screen. And we can add a little bit of a shadow edge over here where the light is not hitting. Then let's move on to this frame. That's this one. Let's tap that layer, turn on alpha lock. So we can add a little bit of color variety here. Perhaps we can use a little bit of a purplish color. Let's go for this one, 9th color in the first row. And let's add a little bit over here, a little bit of light. Slight little touch. And we can also go a little bit darker with this color, 1st color in the first row. Maybe add a bit of a dark touch at the top. Just a little bit. Then let's move on to this layer here at the top. Tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, and now let's add variety here. We also want some purplish color here, so let's go to that 9th color in the first row. Go along the frame. Some nice variety. And over here at the bottom, let's make it lighter. Let's pick this color, 4th color in the 2nd row. And here, keep that diagonal line here in the corner. Keep that in mind. Here we'll go vertical, and then here we'll go diagonal again. And then here we have that little edge in the corner. Very nice. Now let's move on to those windows. Let's start with this one. That's the one on the right. Again, we'll turn on alpha lock on these layers. You can just tap them, turn on alpha lock. Start with the top one, and let's pick that orange color, 9th color in the 2nd row. And let's just make some vertical strokes like this to add some nice texture to this window. Using very light pressure, let's go for something like this. I hope you're having fun so far creating your own window city view. If you want to take your drawing skills to the next level, or if you just want to follow a crazy amount of Procreate tutorials, then I think you will really like my Patreon page, because I have more than 250 Procreate drawing and painting tutorials over there. So that's enough to keep you busy for a long time. So I'll just leave a link for you down in the description in case you want to check that out. It would be great to welcome you there. But now let's continue. Then we'll move to this layer. Let's pick some pink for that. 7th color in the 2nd row. Add a little bit over here. And we can also add some light color. We can use this pink, 4th color in the 2nd row. We can use that a little bit like here at the top. And these bottom parts, just a slight bit of texture. Now let's close this group and move on to the next one. Turn on alpha lock. You can also do that by sliding to the right with 2 fingers, by the way. Now let's first pick that orange color again, 9th color in the 2nd row, and add that texture. Get some nice, almost wood-like texture. Then to that inside, this layer. First we'll pick that pink, 7th color in the 2nd row. And of course, I could have also done this before duplicating, but I like that there is a bit more variety between these windows. Then let's go to the 4th color in the 2nd row. A little bit of light. Just like that. Then we'll move on to our buildings. Let's start with the one at the top. For all of these windows, we need to turn on alpha lock. So you can either do that by tapping the layer, turning it on, or by sliding to the right on all of these. Then for our brush, we'll go to the grunge brushes and use the mountain lilac brush. And for the color, you can play around a little bit here, experiment with the colors. We're just gonna add a grungy effect to these buildings. For instance, I'll pick this one, 3rd color in the 2nd row. And the size of this brush is at 60%, opacity at 100. And I'll just go over here and add some of that texture. And then we are going to add a shadow side to the building to make it look a little bit 3D. And we'll do that by using the selection tool. Set it to rectangle, but turn color fill off. Then we'll select this left part. Then go to your brush and let's pick a darker color. Let's pick this dark blue, 5th color in the 1st row. And let's go over here to add a shadow side and then turn the selection off again. You could also go over it a bit more, add some more dark touches, but you need that nice crisp left side. And we'll do the same for the other buildings. Let's go to these. Let's first pick a darker blue like this one, fourth color in the first row. Let's go over here, add some of that texture. You could also go lighter with this third color in the first row. Just some nice texture. Then create a selection again with the S-shaped ribbon. Select the left side, then pick a dark blue like this fourth color, and then with the brush go over here and create that shadow side, and then turn the selection off. Then we'll do the same for this pink building. First, let's pick this color, sixth color in the second row, add some of that texture. And then we'll use the selection tool again. Select the left side, pick a darker color, in this case the 8th color in the second row, pick the brush, and then add that shadow side. And then turn the selection off again. And move on to the next over here. I'll stick with this color. Add some darker touches. You could also add some lighter touches with the 5th color in the second row. And of course, we'll make a selection again with the S-shaped ribbon. Select this part, then pick the dark color again, 8th color. And of course, we do need to pick our brush. And then add that shadow part. You could also add extra shadow. We could make a cast shadow of this building. You can do that with the selection tool, setting it to freehand, and then make a selection like this. Then grab the brush and add some shadow like this. And then tap the S-shape ribbon again. Then let's move on. Let's go to this layer. Let's first pick this darker color, first color in the second row. Add some texture here. Then use the selection tool. Select, need rectangle. Select this area. Pick the brush and darken it. And then turn the selection off. Then for the orange building, I'd like to add some pink. 7th color in the second row. Then we'll create a selection. Select this area. Then for the color, I'd like to pick this purple. 8th color in the second row. Then pick the brush and add that shadow side. Turn off the selection and move on to this area here with the blue and pink building. First, let's pick this lighter blue, 2nd color in the second row. Let's add a bit of that. And we can go even lighter with this one, 2nd color in the first row. And then for the shadow, pick the selection tool, make a selection, pick a dark color, like this one, 5th color in the first row, pick the brush and add that shadow. Then turn off the selection, then move on to our pink building. Let's first start with this color, 6th color in the second row. Add some texture. Then let's move to this color, 8th color in the second row. Let's use our selection tool. Select this side, pick the brush, and add that shadow side. and then turn off the selection. You could also go back in with this pink, with this 7th color in the 2nd row. If you'd like to get some of that pink back in, make it a bit more faded. Now let's move to this building. Let's pick a pink. Let's go for this one. Well, it's a bit purplish. 5th color in the 2nd row. Let's go over here. Then let's use the selection tool. Select this area. Then let's pick the brighter pink, 7th color in the 2nd row with our brush. And then add that shadow and turn off the selection. You can also add a little bit over here. All right, then on to this one. Let's add some orange here. 9th color in the 2nd row. Go over the building. Now let's pick the selection tool, select this area, pick the brush, make this even darker, and I think we could also add in some blue maybe. Let's use this color, 1st color in the 2nd row, adding a touch of blue, just a little bit. Then turn off the selection, and let's also add some of those bluish tones here perhaps. It's a nice contrast. Yeah, I like that. Then on to the ones in the back over here. For those, I'd like to use this color, 7th color in the 1st row. First, just gently go over. Then use the selection tool. Select the side. And also over here, we can do both. Then pick the brush and create the shadow side. Then let's make another selection. So tap it twice, then go to freehand, and then make a little shadow over here. Pick the brush, paint in here. You get a nice cast shadow. Turn off the selection. And then one thing we can do is add a bit more perspective to these buildings, at least the ones at the top. We can go in here. We are on this layer. We can go to the selection tool, set it to freehand, start in this corner, and then make a slightly diagonal line here like this, a selection. And then if you swipe with 3 fingers, it'll remove that and it'll be a bit more in perspective. Do the same over here. Start in this corner, cut off a little part, swipe with 3 fingers, and get that perspective. We can also do it with this one, just slightly. Let's go to the selection tool, and let's just go to that shadow edge, swipe with 3 fingers, and there you have it. Then let's go to our sky layer over here. And for our brush, let's go to the pencils and use the Bruni brush. And for the color, use this one, 2nd color in the 1st row. Now the opacity of this brush is at 100%. Let's set the size to maybe 50. And let's just make some rounded shapes like this, using the side of your pen to create some fluffy clouds. Now what we need is windows on our buildings. So let's dive in here. Let's, to save some layer space, you could merge the layers at the top, like the entire frame and the windows. Now I have enough layer space, but it depends on your iPad. So I'll just keep them like this. Let's go to the front, this layer, let's tap the plus. And then with the selection tool, set to rectangle and color filter on. Let's create a window shape. For the color, let's use this one, 5th color, or maybe this one. Yeah, let's go for this. That's the 8th color in the 1st row. And let's just create a little window shape. Then you can turn off the selection tool and set this layer to alpha lock. And then we'll go And use that brownie brush again. And let's make the size like 15%. And for instance, we can use some blue, like this 4th color. And we can go in here. We can add a little frame. Just with these lines. It doesn't have to be super tidy. And we can make a vertical line and 2 horizontal. To get that idea of a window, you can also pick this light color, 6th color in the 1st row, and add a slight light edge here at the bottom. And now we can simply duplicate this. We can swipe down with 3 fingers and then use duplicate. And then we can move this one up. Then we can tap the arrow to get out of here, and then you can swipe down again, duplicate. And maybe we have a window over here. Tap the arrow, slide down, tap duplicate. And I'll move this one here. And then tap the arrow again. Now you can repeat this process for all the buildings. We can pinch these together, or you could duplicate these and use them for other buildings as well. Or we can pinch them together and then move to this building, tap the plus, go to the selection tool again, pick a dark color like the 8 color in the 1st row, but you can definitely vary with this. And then just make your first window. Then go to the layer menu, tap it, and turn on alpha lock. And then just add some details. You could also pick like the 4th, a blue color. Add a little bit of shading in there. And maybe for this one, we can use this light color, 6th color in the 1st row. And then create a frame. So for each of the buildings, you could make it slightly different. Create different types of windows. And then again, you can just slide down, tap duplicate, and then add a bunch of windows to this building. So just repeat this process, vary with your windows, and then eventually it'll look something like this. And of course, this is a perfect time to take a screenshot in case you want to use it as reference or inspiration. And then that's it for our lovely window view. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to share your work, and I'll see you next time for the next tutorial.